All right, so 8.0, we're just going to review solving equations real quick, just so that we're ready. A few of you seem like you struggled a little bit when we were doing this on the Unit 7 test. So as we look, remember that the first four, those should be really easy for us. So we'll go through those fairly quickly. But again, the main idea here is we're going to find where our letter is, and we're going to get rid of the negative 10. And so the opposite of negative 10 is a positive 10. So we're going to add 10 to both sides of the equal sign. And so our n is going to come down, and negative 8 plus 10 is 2. Some of you, you're just struggling with those little steps. You're trying to do too much and you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So just keep track of what's your end goal. So as we look at number 2, same idea. Here's your letter next to the 19, and 19 and a are connected through multiplication. So we do the opposite of multiply, which is divide. So we're going to divide. And then with that, you can just use your calculator. Don't worry about using your calculator. You've got a negative divided by a positive, which is a negative. And then 20 divided by 19 is 1. And then you've got 1 left over. So 19 divided by 19 is 1. So we've got negative 11. And again, these first four are pretty basic. We've got one-step and two-step equations, which I think we're okay with. Again, here's your letter term. And so we've got a positive 5 we want to get rid of. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. We have 5x is equal to negative 40. Now, some of you guys just are trying to skip steps and you're hurrying too quick. And so just make sure you take the time, write down a little bit. It's not a big deal. So 5 next to x is multiply, so we divide both sides by 5, and then we get x is equal to negative 40 divided by 5, which again is negative 8. And so again, if we're not positive, just double check it with your calculator. It's not a big deal. And then number 4, kind of the same thing. This is my letter part. So we're going to get rid of positive 5 by subtracting 5, which makes this part go away. 5 subtract 5 makes this part be 0. And then this is b over 1. And so again, here's my letter part. To get rid of dividing by 1, we're going to times by 1. So we multiply both sides by 1. 1 times 0 is 0. And then we're left with b on the left. On the right. And again, those first couple are just those one-step, two-step equations. Now, obviously, it will get a little bit harder as we're looking at number 5. Same idea. My letter part, the part that's connected to my letter, is the 9. So the way we're going to get rid of divide by 7 is times by 7. So we're going to multiply both sides by 7. And it makes this part go away. 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. And then we're left with the n minus 9 on top. Now remember, it's because we have that whole entire chunk on the top divided by 7. That's why we're getting rid of the 7 first. And now when we look at it, we're like, hey, here's my letter part again. So to get rid of minusing 9, we're going to add 9. And then this goes away. And so we're left with n is equal to, and then negative 21 plus 9 is going to give us 12. And a negative 21 plus a 9 is going to give us a negative 12. So keep track of our signs. And again, if you're not positive, use your calculator. Negative 21 plus 9 is going to give you that negative 12. Number 6, this is another just two-step equation. So here's our negative. We're going to add 8 to both sides. This goes away. 48 plus 8 is going to give us 56, is equal to negative 8k. And then again, the negative 8 is next to the k, so it's multiply. So we undo multiply by divide. And 56 divided by negative 8 is going to give us negative 7. All right, so looking at number 7, notice on this one we have an x on both sides. Oh, I shouldn't say we have an x on both sides. We have two x's. We have two x terms on the same side. And so the left is going to stay negative 16. The right, because they're on the same side of the equal sign, we just do what it tells us. So it says 3 subtract 7, which is negative 4. And the x is just going to get tagged on. And now when we look at it, they're connected through multiply, so we undo it by divide. And I think that's where some of you guys are struggling a little bit. Remember that if it's on the same side of the equal sign, we're not doing the opposite. We do exactly what it tells us to do. And so this is going to give us 4 is equal to x. As you look at number 8 has parentheses, and so we have a couple options. One option is we can distribute that negative 8. Another option is we could see if negative 8 divides evenly into negative 12. But most of you like to do distributive property when you see those parentheses, so we're just going to do that. So negative 8 times negative 4 is positive 32. Negative 8 times negative 6 is positive 48. And then the right-hand side is going to stay negative 112. And then we're going to, again, here's my letter part, so we're going to subtract 32 from both sides. So we're going to get 48n is equal to negative 144. And then because the 48's next to the n, it's multiply. So we undo that by dividing. And so we get n is equal to a negative divided by a positive is a negative, and then 144 divided by 48 is going to give us, what is that, 3 negative. And then one more, number 9, same idea. We're going to distribute first. And so we're going to get negative 36, negative 42x. Right-hand side's going to stay the same. We haven't done anything to it. And then again, because I'm bringing it across the equal sign, that's when you're doing the opposite. So if I bring the 6 over to the left, the 6x, then I'm going to subtract both sides to make this part go away. And then kind of the same thing. If I want to bring the negative 36 over to the right-hand side, then I'm going to add 36. And you guys can do that as 1 or 2 steps. It's up to you. I usually try to do it as 1 just because it's quicker, but that's up to you. So negative 42 minus 6 is negative 48. And then 12 plus 36 is 48. And so we get negative 48x equals 48. And if we divide both sides by negative 48, then we're going to get x is equal to negative 1. And again, as long as you're taking it step by step, we should be good. I think part of the problem is you guys try to rush through it, or you don't pay attention to, do they have a variable attached? Are they on the same side of the equal sign? So make sure you guys are looking at those things. So again, as we're looking at number 10, this is probably the most complicated you're going to get. And so we're going to do distributive property. And so we're going to go 3 times 2n, which is 6n, and then 3 times 1, which is 3. And notice the negative 8 is on the outside of parentheses, so it's just going to come straight down. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to go negative 3 times n is negative 3n. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. And the plus 8n is going to come straight down. Now, when I look at this, you should be noticing that, again, here's our little equal sign. So as we look at it, if we look at the left-hand side of the equal sign, we have like terms. So the 6n is going to stay 6n, and we're going to have 3 subtract 8, which is negative 5. And then it's equal to, and then when I look at the right-hand side of the equal sign, we have negative 3n and positive 8n on the same side. They're both n's. They're like terms. So negative 3 plus 8 is 5n, and then the negative 18 is going to come straight down. So now when we look at this, again, we're still going, okay, we've got that equal sign. I'm going to bring the 5n over to the left. And so I'm going to subtract 5n from both sides. And that makes this part go away. And 6 subtract 5 makes us have n on the left-hand side. And now when I look at the -5, I want to bring the -5 over to the right-hand side. So I'm going to add 5. That makes this part go away. So we're left with just the n on the left. And then -18 plus 5 is -13. That's left on the right. And so that's my answer. Hopefully that's a good review of solving equations. If you guys see one on your assignment that's not quite matching, go back and watch that video or this video. Make sure you look at the steps that we take to solve. I hope that helps. Make sure you show your work, and I will see you on next time in class.